Dear audience, you are following the News of America Daily News. I'm editor John Tyson. Today is October 20th, 2020. There will be the following main news. 1. Coronavirus cases in this state reach record high over the weekend. 2. CDC issues new guidance on face mask use for public transit. 3. 2020 presidential election ballots cast so far. 4. Presidential Debate Commission Chairman defends rule to cut mics in next debate. 5. First Lady Melania Trump will not travel to PA rally due to lingering cough after COVID battle. 6. Biden campaign faces backlash for TV ad depicting Michigan Tech CEO as struggling bar owner. 7. NC governor caught on hot mic telling Biden they'll drag Cal Cunningham across the line after scandal. 8. Majority favor confirming Barrett to Supreme Court, oppose court packing, polls show. 9. New Hampshire homeowners receive threatening letters over Trump 2020 lawn signs. 10. Pickup with Trump sign fired on by man with shotgun, Maryland police. 11. Minneapolis residents sue city council for lack of police, blame defund police movement. 12. Human coronaviruses inactivated by mouthwash, oral rinses, study. Missouri reported a record number of coronavirus cases over the weekend. The Show Me State on Saturday reported a record of some 2,357 new cases of COVID-19. The Associated Press reported an estimated 1,768 new cases were reported on Sunday. The 7-day rolling average of daily new cases has also increased, with 1,298.71 new cases reported on October 3 compared to 1,528.29 reported on Saturday. Overall, the state has a positivity rate is 19.7%, but some counties, namely Holt, New Madrid, Osage, Stoddard, DeKalb, and Monito, have a positivity rate above 50%, per the outlet. As of Saturday, the state ranked 10th in the nation for the highest rate of new cases per 100,000 residents, recording some 399.55 cases per 100,000 residents over the past 2 weeks, according to the Associated Press. In total, Missouri has 156,696 cases of COVID-19 with more than 2,500 total deaths. The news comes after the number of coronavirus cases in the U.S. last week rose by 11%, with Midwest states hit the hardest, according to a recent analysis. The report also found that 29 out of 50 states have seen cases rise for at least 2 weeks in a row. As of Tuesday morning, all 50 states plus the District of Columbia have reported confirmed cases of COVID-19, tallying more than 8,214,754 illnesses and at least 220,133 deaths. Disease Control and Prevention has issued new guidance on the use of face masks for public transit, urging passengers and workers to wear facial coverings throughout the entire travel journey in the fight against COVID-19. The CDC shared the update on Monday, advising people traveling via air, sea and land, as well as officials and crew members operating the transportation, to wear face masks to help stop the spread of the coronavirus. Traveling on public conveyances increases a person's risk of getting and spreading COVID-19 by bringing persons in close contact with others, often for prolonged periods, and exposing them to frequently touched surfaces. The Public Health Institute explained. Given how interconnected most transportation systems are across the nation and the world, local transmission can grow quickly into interstate and international transmission when infected persons travel on public conveyances without wearing a mask, and with others who are not wearing masks. With that being said, the CDC strongly recommends that appropriate masks be worn by all passengers and personnel on public transit, like airplanes, ships, ferries, trains, subways, buses, taxis, ride shares. To that end, the people passing through or working in transit hubs like airports, bus or ferry terminals, train stations, seaports, are also advised to cover their mouth and nose with a face mask. Furthermore, the CDC pressed transit operators to refuse boarding to anyone who refuses to wear a mask for the duration of travel. Beyond exceptions for briefly eating or drinking, verifying one's identity to authorities, such as the TSA, or if otherwise incapacitated. The CDC also added that exceptions to the passenger face mask guidance should be made for children under age 2, as well as those who are exempt from wearing a mask for medical reasons. Travel Pulse reports that the CDC initially pitched an order requiring all passengers and personnel on public transit to wear face masks, in a suggestion that was ultimately shot down by the White House. The CDC's latest recommendations followed a request from Vice President Mike Pence to CDC Director Robert Redfield, and further empowers commercial airlines to enforce mask-wearing policies during transit. Many Americans are voting early in the 2020 presidential election, amid concerns regarding the coronavirus pandemic and U.S. Postal Service timing. More than 34 million total ballots cast as of Tuesday suggests a record turnout for this year's race compared to the 5.9 million ballots that were cast at a similar time in 2016. According to data from the United States Elections Project, that number of early ballots cast so far represents 24.5% of the total national voter turnout in 2016. The pace has dropped, said Elections Project founder and University of Florida political science professor Michael McDonald on the project website, because last week the early vote ran about 6.5 times at the same point in 2016, whereas this week it is only a little less than 5 times the comparable 2016 point. McDonald said the lower rate is due to 2 factors. First, it's not like no one voted early in 2016. That was a record year for early voting, with about 40% of all votes cast early. We're at 20% of the 2016 total vote as I write this, he wrote. The ratio of 2020 early vote to 2016 early vote is going to come down simple, because it is impossible that early voting is going to be 6 times what it was in 2016. The other factor, he said, is that in-person early voting has begun in many states. There is a simple capacity issue, McDonald wrote. In-person early voting is designed to spread out voting over several days. So in most states, there are fewer in-person polling locations than what election officials provide on election day. It is difficult, if not impossible, to process in one day 6 times the number of voters as in 2016. Still, we are seeing impressive in-person early voting with 2-fold increases over 2016 in Georgia and Tennessee, Texas, and North Carolina. Several states have already reached more than 40% of their 2016 voter turnout as of Saturday, including Texas, 51.4%, Vermont, 46.3%, New Jersey, 43.2%, Georgia, 40.7%, and Montana, 40.2%. Texas has seen the largest voter turnout so far. More than 4.6 million Texans have cast ballots so far. California and Florida trail just behind with nearly 4 million and nearly 3 million ballots cast, respectively. Swing state Michigan has seen voter turnout reach nearly 1.5 million. Virginia, North Carolina, New Jersey, and Georgia have also counted more than well over 1 million ballots each. McDonald previously told that he expected some things to be different since states changed their laws to accommodate voters amid the pandemic. McDonald added that 70 million mail-in ballots are expected to go out to voters ahead of November 3. People did not have to take advantage of this, he said of mail-in ballots and early voting. But many people already have. Ballot data is still unavailable in some states, including Idaho, New York, Arkansas, and Missouri. California, however, has recorded the highest number of mail ballot requests at more than 21.5 million, compared to Florida's 5.8 million as of Sunday. Voters in New Jersey have requested nearly 6 million. Democrats have requested 23.9 million ballots while Republicans have requested 13.3 million. A 10.59 million ballot request lead based on data from states reporting party registration including California, Colorado, the District of Columbia, Florida, Iowa, Maryland, Maine, North Carolina, New Jersey, Nevada, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Utah. Those ballot requests by party, however, may not be an accurate indicator of final election results, according to McDonald's frequently asked questions page on the Elections Project website. Just because registered Democrats are leading Republicans in early voting, that does not mean the Republicans will not make up ground on Election Day. McDonald wrote, adding that registered Democrats typically lead Republicans during early voting. And Republicans vote on Election Day, a pattern that persists across many states and elections. McDonald shared two possible scenarios for this year's voter outcome. The first is that many voters have successfully flattened the curve on mail-in ballots, meaning election officials will be able to more accurately process ballots. He said, "The typical pattern is, we usually don't see this rush at the beginning. Early voting numbers are small and pick up closer to Election Day." The second scenario, he said, is the U.S. following a typical pattern, and as Election Day appears, we'll see unprecedented in-person turnout for the election. Colorado, Oregon, Washington, California, D.C., Hawaii, Montana, Nevada, New Jersey, and Utah sent mail-in ballots to every registered voter as an alternative to voting in person during the COVID-19 crisis. Republican Chairman Frank Fahrenkopf of the Commission on Presidential Debates, CPD, defended the new rule that will cut mics during the debate to minimize interruptions. "This is not a new rule, the campaigns agreed early on going back to June," Fahrenkopf said on The Brian Kilmeade Show. "Both agreed to live with it. It provides clearly that for the first 4 minutes of each of the 6 segments, that each candidate gets to speak for 2 minutes without interruptions. They both violated that rule," Fahrenkopf continued. He said that the commission didn't believe it could change any rule without both campaigns agreeing, but noted they'd already agreed not to interrupt for the first 4 minutes of each segment. Fahrenkopf said the rest of the debate would be open microphones. The CPD announced Monday it would mute President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden during the initial 2-minute response times allotted to their opponents at the debate Thursday in Nashville. Also included in the debate will be an open discussion forum that won't include the mute option. Thursday's debate will consist of 6 15-minute segments, totaling 90 minutes in all as in the first debate. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, DNY, suggested a mute button would be necessary for another debate to take place. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, R. California, however, has argued a mute button would be giving the moderator too much power. In response to the Trump campaign's push for a greater foreign policy focus, the Biden campaign accused Trump of being unprepared to address his COVID-19 response. The Trump campaign is lying about that now because Donald Trump is afraid to face more questions about his disastrous COVID response. The campaign said, "As usual, the president is more concerned with the rules of a debate than he is getting a nation in crisis the help it needs." But Ali Pardo, Deputy Communications Director for the Trump campaign, told that, over the past several months, the Commission on Presidential Debates verbally confirmed on multiple occasions that the third debate would have a foreign policy focus. First Lady Melania Trump will not accompany President Donald Trump to a campaign rally in Pennsylvania Tuesday evening due to a lingering cough, despite having recovered from the novel coronavirus. Mrs. Trump's Chief of Staff Stephanie Grisham said the First Lady continues to feel better every day following her recovery from COVID-19. But with a lingering cough, and out of an abundance of caution, she will not be traveling today, Grisham said in a statement. The statement comes ahead of President Trump's scheduled Make America Great Again rally in Erie, PA, later Tuesday, just 2 days before the candidates will face off for the second and final presidential debate on Thursday night. Mrs. Trump's last public appearance was during the September 29 presidential debate in Ohio. She and President Trump announced in early October that they had both tested positive for the virus. Their results came after close aide Hope Hicks also tested positive. The First Lady announced last week that she had tested negative. The Biden team is under fire for releasing a TV campaign ad last week, depicting a Michigan bar owner struggling to keep his business afloat during the pandemic. What the ad fails to mention is the man is actually a wealthy tech investor who made contributions to the former vice president's campaign. He also supported Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer's stay-at-home orders that kept businesses shuttered longer. The ad, which was posted to YouTube on Thursday and aired Sunday on CBS during NFL games, features Joe Malkoun, who is listed as the co-owner of the Blind Pig, a once popular bar and music venue in Ann Arbor, Mich. Malkoun blamed his business economic downturn on President Trump's COVID-19 response. For 50 years, the Blind Pig has been open and crowded, but right now it's an empty room, he says in the 1-minute ad, showing the empty venue. This is the reality of Trump's COVID response. We don't know how much longer we can survive not having any revenue. A lot of restaurants, bars that have been mainstays for years will not make it through this. This is Donald Trump's economy. He continued. There's no plan, you don't know how to move forward. It makes me so angry. My only hope for my family and this business and my community is that Joe Biden wins this election. That's the kind of person we need. The ad also featured the song Sabotage by the Beastie Boys, marking the first time the group licensed one of its songs for use in a political advertisement. What Malcown doesn't say in the ad is that there's a small chance he'll face financial ruin if the blind pig goes under, given he's a prominent angel investor in several local tech companies. In an April tweet, Malcown also praised Whitmer, arguing she's doing it right by continuing the state's stay-at-home order, which sparked protests and forced businesses like the Blind Pig to remain closed longer. Earlier this month, the Michigan Supreme Court struck down Whitmer's orders to continue extending Michigan's coronavirus-related state of emergency without legislative approval. The initial state of emergency was set to end on April 30th, and Whitmer used executive powers to extend it. The Blind Pig briefly reopened in June, adhering to strict requirements such as requiring masks, enforcing social distancing, aggressive cleaning, and limited guests. But Malcown told MLive in an interview at the time that he decided to cancel future live events for the summer, citing low attendance and difficulty communicating updated coronavirus rules to the public. Now that we tried it and saw it's really hard to communicate what it means to have a really socially distanced and live music show, we decided it's not really worth trying. The very last thing we want is to be the epicenter of a new outbreak, Malcown told the newspaper. After inheriting money from his wife's grandfather, which he likened to winning the lottery, Malcown said he founded CKM Capital Partners in 2013, and eventually became an angel investor in local tech companies, according to a 2018 interview with Click on Detroit. He's also served as CEO of Nutshell, a customer relationship management software company, since 2014. And under his leadership the firm raised at least $5.5 million in angel and venture capital, according to his Crane's Detroit Business 40 Under 40 profile. Malcown also co-founded Cahoots, a co-working tech hub, and purchased 3 buildings in downtown Ann Arbor to host entrepreneurs. According to Federal Election Commission data, Malcown donated $5,000 to Biden for president in July. The Biden campaign and Malcown did not immediately return Fox News' request for comment. Meanwhile, the Biden campaign also pulled a different TV ad, after retired Lieutenant General Sean McFarland raised concerns about depicting any military personnel in uniform in political messaging for either Biden or President Trump, before Election Day, Politico reported. The ad included photos taken in Iraq showing Biden walking beside McFarland, who led the fight against the Islamic State from 2015 until 2016. A number of people have understandably inferred that my appearance constitutes an endorsement of the former vice president. It does not, McFarland wrote last week in a since-deleted LinkedIn post. To be clear, I have not endorsed President Trump, either. I'm not a political person, but this isn't about just me. I object to the use of any military personnel in uniform in political ads, full stop. That goes double for generals and admirals, even if we have since retired, as I have. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper appeared to call Senate candidate Cal Cunningham's scandal frustrating, but predicted his campaign would get across the line during a conversation with Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden that was caught on a hot mic on Monday. "Thanks for coming out, you didn't have to do this," Biden told Cooper, a Democrat. "No, I wanted to express my strong support for you, and I think we're all going to get across the line," Cooper said. "I think Cal's going to get across the line, too. I know that's frustrating, but we'll get it across," Cooper added. Biden campaigned in Raleigh, NC, on Monday. Cal Cunningham's sex scandal is dragging down Democrats statewide. And it's no wonder that Roy Cooper called Cunningham's misconduct frustrating, and that Biden wasn't campaigning with him. North Carolina GOP Press Secretary Tim Wigginton said in a statement in response to the hot mic conversation, "Members of Cunningham's own party are distancing themselves from him because they know his affair has exposed his campaign as one big lie." News of Cunningham's inappropriate behavior emerged in early October, when conservative website National File published texts between Cunningham and California woman Arlene Guzman Todd that were sexual in nature. His campaign confirmed the texts earlier this month. Since then, Cunningham's campaign has tried to push past the controversy and paint the Democrat, a married father of two, as the only candidate who will protect North Carolinians' health care. A new Gallup poll shows that a majority of Americans support the confirmation of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court by a slim margin. The poll, released Tuesday morning, revealed that 51% of participants said they are in favor of President Trump's latest nominee joining the High Court, compared to 46% who are opposed. Just 3% said they do not have an opinion on the matter, the lowest number since Gallup started taking polls on Supreme Court nominees. The poll was taken from September 30, 4 days after Trump nominated Barrett, to October 15, the final day of her confirmation hearing. Barrett's 51% approval is higher than both of Trump's previous nominees. Justice Neil Gorsuch received support from 45% of those polled when he was nominated, and Justice Brett Kavanaugh garnered 41%. In both of those situations, far more people stated they had no opinion. For Gorsuch, 23% had no opinion and 32% were opposed, and for Kavanaugh 22% had no opinion and 37% were opposed. The Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled to vote on Barrett's nomination on Thursday. The full Senate will then hold a vote on whether to confirm her to the Supreme Court. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell tweeted Monday that he will make sure the process moves forward swiftly. A Maryland man with Biden campaign signs on his yard has been charged with firing a shotgun at two men who honked the horn as they drove past his house in a pickup displaying a large Trump campaign sign. Baltimore County Police said they responded to the incident Saturday afternoon in Kingsville and arrested Douglas Kuhn, 50, on multiple counts of assault. No one was hurt. Kuhn appeared before a judge Monday and was denied bail. Neil Houck told WJZ-TV that he and his son were the ones in the pickup who honked at Kuhn when they saw him outside putting up a Black Lives Matter sign. He reached down. Houck told the station. He had a shotgun right there, pulled it out and pointed it right at us. And we were in disbelief. Next thing we heard was a shotgun blast. He added, "We see what's going on in the country, and I really didn't expect it right here at home." The weapon was a 12-gauge shotgun. Fox 45 interviewed neighbors of Kuhn who said that his Biden and Black Lives Matter's yard signs have been vandalized in the past. 3 Biden signs could be seen in his yard Monday, the station reported. Houck's son Brad Lang was once a leader of the Towson College Republicans. "We are very thankful that both Brad and his father are unharmed, and the shooter is in custody," the group said. At least 2 residents who displayed pro-Trump flags and signs on their front lawns in small-town New Hampshire reportedly received letters threatening to burn down their homes if the presidential election did not result in a victory for Democratic candidate Joe Biden. The letters were received by one resident in Milford and another in the nearby town of Brookline, both located in Hillsborough County. Captain Craig Fry, of the Milford Police, told the department referred the case to the U.S. Postal Inspection Service and the State Attorney General's office, which is conducting an investigation. A woman who asked to be identified only by her first name, Kelly, showed the letter she received to WMUR. It read, "Dear neighbor, you have been identified by our group as being a Trump supporter. Your address has been added to our database as a target. When we attack should Trump not concede the election, we recommend that you check your home insurance policy and make that it is current and that it has adequate coverage for fire damage. You have been given fair warning." The station aired footage showing one of the houses where the letter was mailed. Several flags bearing the slogan, "Trump, Pence 2020, and "Keep America Great," were displayed on the porch and lawn. "I was kind of quite shocked that anyone would send a letter out with that type of threat," Brookline Police Chief Bill Quigley told WMUR, adding those behind the letter could face serious charges. "It's on a felony level, because of the threat of burning homes down and causing injury, but it could also be with the postal inspectors, something on the federal level. I was very taken aback. This is my home," Kelly said, describing what went through her mind after receiving the threat. "You're not supposed to threaten my home. I'm very worried in the sense that this is going on in my town. 8 Minneapolis residents are suing the city council over a lack of police presence amid spikes in violent crime in the city, according to local news reports. The residents are blaming the council's calls to defund the police after George Floyd's May 25 death, and argue that the city has not said how many officers are currently on the ground to meet a minimum requirement for protecting residents, according to WCCO. "We are here, together in unison, to say enough is enough," community activist Kathy Span said during a Monday press conference. "I am here today to say it is about all of us coming together to make a difference to stop the gun violence that is in our city. Downtown, south, north. We are stopping it. We are no longer asking for a plan. We are the plan." The Minneapolis City Council members in June voted to completely dismantle the city's police department and replace it with a community safety program. The council has since changed its stance amid a surge in violent crime and carjackings in Minneapolis. Mayor Jacob Frey's 2021 budget plan, released on September 22, includes a $14 million budget cut to the police department from $193 million in adopted funds in 2020 to nearly $179 million in 2021 amid a surge in retirements and a hiring freeze. "We have made the emotional appeal," former city council member Don Samuels said during the conference. "We have demonstrated the statistical uptick in violence. And now, this is the legal action we are exercising because it seems as if the city council cannot hear us and doesn't feel what we feel." The city told Fox 9 that it is meeting the federal requirements for the number of sworn officers representing a population, and asked the judge involved in the case to dismiss it. "We simply want to have enough police on the streets to keep Minneapolis safe." Attorney James Dickey, who is representing the plaintiffs in the case, told Fox 9. The MPD's digital data dashboard shows a surge in violent crime in the city between June and July. For the week beginning June 16, for example, the city recorded 171 violent crimes compared to 111 the week prior, and 90 during the same time in 2019. That number went up to 172 violent crimes during the week beginning July 21. Violent crime numbers have remained relatively high through September and October. A new study conducted by researchers at the Penn State College of Medicine has found that a common dental item can inactivate human coronaviruses: mouthwash and oral rinses. For the study, the results of which were published in the Journal of Medical Virology, researchers tested various oral and nasopharyngeal rinses, which included a 1% solution of baby shampoo, a neti pot, peroxide sore mouth cleansers, and mouthwashes, to determine how well they inactivated human coronaviruses. The baby shampoo solution, which is often used by head and neck doctors to rinse the sinuses, the researchers noted in a news release regarding the findings, was particularly effective. The solution inactivated greater than 99.9% of human coronavirus after a 2-minute contact time, they said. The mouthwash and oral rinses were also efficacious, they found. Many inactivated greater than 99.9% of virus after only 30 seconds of contact time, and some inactivated 99.99% of the virus after 30 seconds. More specifically, researchers used a test to replicate the interaction of the virus in the nasal and oral cavities with the rinses and mouthwashes, as the nasal and oral cavities are thought to be main points of entry for human coronaviruses, including SARS-CoV-2, better known as COVID-19. Though the researchers didn't specifically test SARS-CoV-2 in the study, the novel virus is genetically similar to the other human coronaviruses tested, leading the researchers to hypothesize that the results would be similar. A strain of human coronavirus was mixed with baby shampoo solutions, various peroxide antiseptic rinses and various brands of mouthwash, allowing the solutions to iterate with the virus for different amounts of time, including 30 seconds, 1 minute, and 2 minutes. The solutions were then diluted to prevent further virus inactivation, they wrote. To measure how much virus was inactivated, the researchers placed the diluted solutions in contact with cultured human cells. They counted how many cells remained alive after a few days of exposure to the viral solution, and used that number to calculate the amount of human coronavirus that was inactivated as a result of exposure to the mouthwash or oral rinse that was tested. Per the news release, lead study author Craig Myers a distinguished professor of microbiology and immunology in obstetrics and gynecology, said the results show that the amount of viral load, in an infected person's mouth could be reduced by using these common over-the-counter products, ultimately helping to reduce the spread of the novel virus. While we wait for a vaccine to be developed, methods to reduce transmission are needed, Myers said in a statement. The products we tested are readily available and often already part of people's daily routines. The team's findings bolster past research that also looked at how oral rinses and mouthwashes may be able to reduce the viral load of human coronaviruses. For instance, a study published in the scientific journal Function in May also concluded that mouthwash could play a role in preventing the transmission of the novel coronavirus. People who test positive for COVID-19 and return home to quarantine may possibly transmit the virus to those they live with, said Myers. Certain professions including dentists and other healthcare workers are at a constant risk of exposure. Clinical trials are needed to determine if these products can reduce the amount of virus COVID-positive patients or those with high-risk occupations may spread while talking, coughing, or sneezing. Even if the use of these solutions could reduce transmission by 50%, it would have a major impact. Please like and subscribe to follow the latest daily news. Don't forget to comment your opinion on this newsletter. Thank you for your time. Goodbye and see you in the next news.